You are listening to the decision reel.
So, final D's.
These few minutes are going to kill me because I got to piss.
Oh, that's
so bad.
No wonder you're rushing.
Final
to
decision.
I know.
Out of 10,
I'm trying so
were you
hard.
entertained, and would you recommend it to anyone, Randy?
Was I entertained? Yes.
Okay.
Not the entire time. There were some parts that dragged, but overall, I would recommend it to
Well, even Steve admitted it was a little long.
some people. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. So no, I wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
Would you give it out of 10?
I would give it a 6.
Why?
It dragged on a little bit. It was fucking almost 2 hours long for a 1999 or 1990 movie. The graphics weren't that great, but for 1990, I would say they're pretty good.
2 weeks.
That part wasn't even that good.
It
was
wasn't.
Why do you keep harping on that part?
Because it's amazing.
It's not that good.
When have you seen that in a movie, and when have you seen it since?
Why
It was
would you?
original.
Why
It's
would
original.
You see it?
Fucking.
There are definitely movies where people have disguised themselves.
No, with a different head on
Mission
top of their
Impossible.
head. Okay. It copied Total Recall.
Sure, yeah, copied. Yep, let's go with that.
I didn't like his clever girl thing. Carrick was like, "Where do you think they got it in Jurassic Park?"
That's
And I was like,
they didn't get it from that, no.
And I said, also, you can't say that because any person in the world that hears clever girl, they are not going to go, "Oh, Total Recall."
Right,
They're
they're
going to
gonna
go Jurassic Park. Like,
Clever girl.
clever girl with the raptor head. That's what all the memes are. They're the raptor head with the clever girl.
Tara, what do you give it out of 10? And were you entertained? And would you recommend it?
So I would give it a 5
Oof.
out of 10. I sorry, it's not my thing. You're lucky I'm even giving it a 5.
Oof.
I do my bill. That's all I gotta do.
Undo your belt. You got to piss. God damn. I'm going to put like a trough down here for you.
That's so
Maybe
much
if you had
better.
some decision real leggings, they wouldn't be pushing
I
on your
know.
bladder.
Speaking
so
of
much.
those leggings.
You can get those right on the
look at
website,
that.
www.thedecisionreel.com.
Look at that.
It's just it's not, and you know what? It's not my cup of tea. So like, take that as you will. I didn't enjoy it. I was not entertained by it. I could not wait for it to end. And I'm sorry I'm being so harsh, but it is what it is. I looked at my phone multiple times while I was watching it. It is what it is. And I'm sorry.
Tara doesn't like Arnie.
No, I think that's what it is.
Tara doesn't like
I
Arnie.
would watch Jingle All the Way
Over this.
You would
easier
not.
before this movie. Yes, I would.
Wow.
Easier.
Well, what I'm going to say, you guys are going to completely be like, you're
Like he's not even going to let me give the other answers because he's like,
out of 10.
he's like, you're not. He's like, I'm not even going to ask you if you'd recommend it. I'm not
no,
even
go
going to.
for okay. Would you recommend it to anybody?
No.
At all? You wouldn't say, hey, Total Recall, you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
If someone said I like Arnold Schwarzenegger and they said they hadn't seen Total Recall, I would be like, why not watch it? If you like Arnold, watch it. But I wouldn't be like, oh my God,
Gotta see
you
this
need to
movie.
watch this movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
Unless I was like, you need to watch this.
But
It's so terrible.
anybody I've asked about this movie since seeing it, I was like, have you seen Total Recall? And they're like, yeah.
Were they
I've
all
seen the movie."
guys? Were they all guys?
Yeah.
And they went, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I was like, have you seen, do you remember the 3 titties? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm
Yeah,
3
exactly.
titties.
And again,
Yeah.
all guys. And I think that in Carrick, same way. But again, you're also asking people that when this movie came out, they were
Like 5
young.
years old. Yeah.
They were young, or when they watched it, they were young. Maybe not when
When
it came out, but when they watched it, they were young. So to a guy watching this movie, it's one of the bigger action movies so
Arnold's
far.
in it and 3
Arnold's in it,
titties?
boobies,
Right.
like.
Yeah.
That's what I said to Carrick. You saw this when you were 6 years old, and then you watched it again when you were 12.
Let's be real.
Like-
I mean, if you're looking for an action movie of the 90s and it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger,
3 fucking titties.
but 3 titties, a midget hooker
3 titties on one
Gore.
person.
on Mars.
blood, and
Come on, you're not going to be
shooting.
like So you're saying you wouldn't recommend it to anybody. You're going to give it a 5 out of 10, and you weren't entertained.
I wasn't. The only way I was entertained was by making fun of it.
Oof.
Steve, what would you give it? What would you recommend?
So I'm going to recommend this to any person who likes action movies. I mean, this is an action movie,
Sure.
set piece after set piece. I mean, I'm going to
This
give
should be a
this.
Thanks for
comedy.
tuning into
This
the
should be
Decision
classified
Reel.
as a
Shut
comedy.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
Let me talk. You guys are going to hate me. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Oh my God.
I love this movie. Everything about it works for me. I mean, this is a pure Arnold spectacle from top to bottom. The one-liners, to me, there's not like a dull moment in this movie. Like you said, you didn't like it, but I love that it just gets in it and goes. It doesn't waste any time. Yeah, it's a little long, but every part of it works. Is it a little like, does it the runtime go a little too long. Maybe at the end, like you said, with them like, I fucking can't breathe. Sure, but for the most part, the one-liners hit for me because I love Arnold one-liners. The action set pieces, they all like, it's just like a fever-filled, crazy dream that we still don't know is a dream or not. And what is it, 30, what do we say, 32 years on? I think it still holds up.
Sure.
You guys can say, I think this is dumb.
But here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Oh.
Okay, so a lot. When was the first time you saw this movie? In the 90s?
Definitely when I was young.
In the 90s.
For sure.
We are watching it as adults for the first time.
Yeah. But see,
all I'm saying is...
But so you're putting it... So yes, I'm a little rose-tinted colored glasses for sure, but
That's
you're
what I'm
also
saying.
putting this up against movies that come out today saying, well, it looks bad.
I'm
and it
not.
doesn't do
I'm
this.
not.
He is. This
He may be.
motherfucker right here.
I'm not.
No, I
because
said I had no rose-tinted glasses
there
on this
are
one.
other movies in the 90s and 80s that I like.
Better.
That has Arnold
Could I
in
name
it?
one? Probably not.
No, I
I'm
don't
not good
like
at that
Arnold,
stuff.
so why would I? But
So that might be part of the problem is if you don't like Arnold in his acting, right?
acting?
And that's the issue is he's being over the top and stupid on purpose.
but he's always over the top, and so I don't know that it's on purpose.
But
Like I really don't.
I
I think
get it,
he's
I get it.
always kind of over the top because that's in his mind that's acting. He is just an overactor. Like Jim Carrey is an overactor, but Jim Carrey is an overactor on purpose for
Right.
comedy. I think Arnold is an overactor because that's just he thinks he needs to sell it, so he's
Yeah.
over the top.
I agree.
But the reason I say that is because the first thing Carrick said was, "Yeah, and my dad took me when I was 7 years old, and everyone loved this movie then." And I'm like, "Okay, great. So you are thinking of it as this epic movie in the 90s.
Right.
I'm watching it in 2023 as someone who's never seen it before as a grown adult, and that's why I think it doesn't hold up." I think if you watch it in the 90s and you watch it now, sure, you'll still like it because it's nostalgic and you liked it back then. I think if you watch it now with fresh eyes, never seeing it, I think it's not going to be as epic
Good.
as
Yeah. I
right.
agree.
as you think.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's still an 8 for me because I love Arnold
Because here's the
Schwarzenegger.
thing, I love Jurassic Park, and that came out only 2.5 years later.
But that is a completely different movie. I mean, you can't.
what I'm
I don't
saying
think
is-
you can put them together.
What I mean is you can't say, "Oh, well, it was the 90s," is what I'm saying. I'm not comparing it to movies today. I'm comparing it to movies in the 90s, is what I mean. And I don't mean, I'm saying overall,
If
like
so facto, it wasn't a good movie.
acting wise,
I get what
is what
you're
I'm saying.
I get what you're trying to say or trying to get me to believe, but you ain't changing my mind.
I'm not.
You ain't changing my mind.
You watched it when
Yeah.
you were like 10 years old.
I
I'm not.
love it.
I'm not changing your mind.
No, never.
I'm
So,
saying
I got you.
That
maybe
was
if you
smooth as fuck.
hadn't.
You like that?
That would you see that?
That was fucking good.
I'm saying if you hadn't and you watched it with fresh eyes today, you might think differently. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe.